So I stand here. The reason I am here is because my family is in threat and danger. If DACA is removed, the reason that we are here has been gone. So I stand here and I ask the congressman to please fight for our families, fight, so that we can please stay here. Our congressman has worked miracles. He has worked with our community, and he has helped our community. He is someone that we can trust. He is someone that holds honor and valor to us. So please, Congressman, fight with ganas and conviction for our people. Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Damaris Posadas, y yo soy de DACA y un Dreamer también. Yo estoy aquí parándome con otros de DACA y Dreamer para que no los haga esperar, to not keep you waiting anymore. Nuestro congresista, el congresista de la gente, Luis Gutiérrez, por favor, ven arriba.
So what brings us here together this afternoon? So the very extreme right of the Republican Party and 10 attorney generals have said to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, if you don't revoke DACA on September the 5th, we're going to file into a courtroom down in southern Texas, and we're going to go before the judge, and we're going to ask that DACA be revoked judicially. Given the fact that the judge down there has already said that DACA was found, he found it to be unconstitutional. And I want you to understand why. He said it would bring this terrible burden to the state of Texas that if you have DAPA and DACA, they would have to give them driver's licenses. That's what the argument was. And he said it would harm the state of Illinois. It would harm the state, the state of Texas. So they're going to go down there, and two things are going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, they're going to be successful, and they're going to go before this judge, and this judge is simply going to find and revoke DACA judicially, and it will no longer have legal standing. Or number two, they will simply revoke it from the White House. Either way, the threat is imminent to 800,000 people in the United States of America. Now, not enough has been said that there are 400,000 other immigrants that are legally in this country today that are also under threat. They already gave notice to over 50,000 Haitians that you have 6 months to put your house in order and leave. And the threat is imminent against hundreds of thousands of others from Central America who also have temporary protective status. I heard it straight from the Secretary of Homeland Security. So what do we have? We have 1.2 million people that are legally in this country today. They're working, they're paying taxes, they're raising their families, and they go through a thorough background check. So we know they are good women and men. And what are they going to do? With the snap of their fingers, they're going to take them from being documented in this country and legal in this country to being undocumented, and then unleash the forces of Homeland Security to go and pick them up. And let me just make really clear to everybody, they know where they live. They know where they go to school. They know everything about them. They've gone through exhaustive background checks. They've given their fingerprints. The FBI has done an exhaustive background check on them. So that's who they're going to unleash. The government is going to go out and begin to pick them up. And we have to say as a community that that will not happen, and that we will fight and we will resist with everything in our power before they take our young men and women from our community, from our homes, from our churches, from our schools. We will fight as a community. Yeah. Now that fight will take place in the Congress of the United States. There will be legislation presented to legalize those with temporary protective status. There will be legislation presented to make sure that the Dreamers have permanent residency in the United States of America. That's going to happen. And we're going to have great lawyers who are going to go into the courtrooms across this country, and they are going to go and fight. But let me just make clear to everyone that the greatest fight, and the fight that is going to give our movement the greatest avenue of success, is the fight that begins here in this church in Pilsen today in Chicago.
Woo! Yes.
And I want to say something because, you know, you just heard from Alderman Solis and Alderman Maldonado, the 25th and the 26th Ward. I want to thank them for everything they do to make Chicago a sanctuary city, and thank them profusely, everyone, because they're doing their part to protect our community. And to Teresa Ma, what can I say? Por fin tenemos una mujer y habla español aunque venga de China. Hay muchas cosas que vienen de China, pero no todos tienen en su corazón, ¿verdad?, ese compromiso con nuestra comunidad como tiene ella. Y quiero decir que los representantes son importantes aquí también. ¿Quién más tenemos aquí de representante? And Teresa Ma. Así que quiero agradecerles a ellos por todo lo que ellos hacen. So, look, I know that legislatively we're going to take action. I know that judicially we're going to take action. But let us look at our community and say, how did we get to where we're at today? Emma and Slim Coleman know only too well. I remember one time we were traveling across the state of Indiana, and I said to Slim and to Emma, I hope nothing happens to this car, because it seems like the three of us are the beginning and the end of the movement. That's how dark some days were in getting there. When the President of the United States used to say, I can't do that. I'm not an emperor. I'm not a king. I can't do DACA. I can't use my powers. And then what did we say as a community? So yes, you can, Mr. President. And everywhere he went, we reminded him of his promise. And a lot of people went to jail, and a lot of people organized and sacrificed a great deal so that we could have 800,000 young people protected by DACA today. And we went to the President and we said, you must protect our Central Americans. And he did. So what I want to say to everybody here today is that we've got to organize and bring our friends. You know, all of those wonderful people, many of whom are here today, that went to the airports, that said, no, refugees are welcome in the United States, no Muslim ban. We need to unite with them to protect our TPS and our DACA recipients.
That's right.
You know, all of those women that went to Washington, D.C. for the Women's March with the pink hats, we need to unite with them and ask them to unite with us so that we can stop fear and racism in this country and bring women to this fight for our immigrant community. We need to take our friends from the LGBTQ community and bring them in too and say we stand together against all kinds of discrimination in this country. We're really all one family. And here's what they're going to do. They're going to try to take away their status and then criminalize them when we know who the real criminals are. You know what a criminal is? Somebody that takes health care away from 33 million people is a criminal. Somebody who puts in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency someone who takes their orders from polluters and contaminates our air, our water and our land. That's a criminal. Someone who uses his executive authority to turn away people fleeing devastation. Devastation. Have you seen the children? Have you seen the faces of those fleeing Syria? And he says, no, you cannot come to this country and seek refuge in the United States of America. To me, that's a criminal.
That's right.
That's a person who does ill to the country of the United States of America. You know what a criminal is? Someone who surrounds himself with people from Wall Street that ripped us off in 2007 and 2008. Someone who surrounds himself with bankers in Wall Street instead of with people.
Yep.
To me, those are criminals. Not a young man or a woman who came here at a young, tender age, went to school, went to college, today is a teacher, a doctor, an engineer. Those are Americans, and we're going to protect those Americans with everything in our heart. So understand, they are coming. The question is, are we ready to fight and resist and protect our hundreds of thousands of immigrants that are legally in this country today? Esa es realmente la pregunta que nos tenemos que hacer. Vienen, van a tocar puertas en tu comunidad, en la calle en que tú vives, en la iglesia que tú asistas, en la escuela que tú estudias. Van a venir y buscar tus hermanos, tus primos, tus tías. Van a venir a buscar tu esposo, tus hijos. La pregunta que nos tenemos que hacer es si vamos a resistir y vamos a ganar en esa resistencia para proteger a esas personas que nosotros amamos y que queremos. Y vamos a ser claros. Para mí, ellos quieren criminalizarlos. Ustedes lo escucharon, you heard them. Mexicans are nothing but murderers, rapists, drug dealers who come here to do bad. And they repeat it time and time again. And every day they take their hands and they take food and they take it to their lips and they eat it. And before the last hands to touch that food were the hands of immigrants that worked in the groves and in the fields in order to make sure that they could have something to eat.
That's right.
We know who works hard, who sweats and toils in this country. And we know that in America there have been resistance in the past. So look, I say to my friends in the Democratic Party, health care is important for everyone. I say to my friends in the Democratic Party, the environment is important for everyone. I say to my friends in the Democratic Party, equal pay for women is important and paramount to everything we do. But remember, Democratic Party, stand up for immigrants too. Stand up for the community of people that work hard too. If it weren't for Latinos, the devastation would have been even greater in the last election. We did our job. We came out to vote. Hundreds of thousands more across this country, millions more came out to vote. We put in our part to protect women. We put in our part to protect our LGBT brothers and sisters, the environment, working men and women, and making sure that there are just and fair laws in this land. And all we are saying, that we will reach out to you, but you need to respond to us. No longer will our immigrant community allow a party, whether it be Democrats or Republicans, to take us for granted. It is time for you to fight for us. Just as we fight for you. Let me say, you know, when I see the young men and women from the Black Lives Movement, I get encouraged. I get energized. Happiness comes to my soul. You want to know why? Because as a Latino, I know that Black lives matter. I would not be here before you today and this microphone, elected as a member of Congress of the United States of America, if Black people hadn't given up their lives for civil rights and for human rights and for political rights in this country. They paved the way. And so it's not only about Latinos in Central America. Yes, it's about Africans. It's about Asians. It's about Haitians. It's about people from all over the world that we are going to stand up to protect. I'm going to stand up to protect. You know, I may have only spent a few hours on 2 different days, but I'm ready to spend many hours and many days and many months, if need be, because I'm going to resist with everything possible. Let's look. Gandhi took on the empire, the greatest British empire, non-violently, with love in his heart, and he brought them down to their knees. We can do the same thing to Donald Trump in the United States of America. Ooh, yeah. If we're ready to do it. So understand, we can do that, and we can do so much more. Because yes, I become angry. Yes, I become very, very, very frustrated. Yes, I become very sad. I do. I become very sad when I think of the implication for 800,000 young people who have all of the hopes and all of their dreams being destroyed at the stroke of a pen. But you know what? It's not anger, it's not frustration, it's not depression that moves me to action. It's the love for those people. It's the love that is in this room for those young men and women. And I will tell you, we will be triumphant. We will use every means at our disposal that is peaceful, that is nonviolent, in order to make the case, not in the courts, the federal courts, maybe not in the Congress of the United States, but in the most important court in the United States of America, in the court of public opinion, where we will win when we bring the stories of our young men and women and what is happening with these government actions. And so, I want to say to everybody, I'm ready to march with you. I'm ready to occupy whatever it is you have to occupy, whether it's an office, whether it's a building, whether it's a street, but we will do what we need to do in order to make our case resoundingly clear to the American public. And here's the last thing I want to tell everybody. Whether it's next Saturday or the following Saturday, I'm ready to make my freedom and put my freedom at the disposal so that other people can be free. Yo estoy listo a sacrificar mi propia libertad para que otros puedan vivir libremente en este país. Hay que hacer ese sacrificio. Ese es el reto que nosotros tenemos ante que nosotros. Because I will not allow Donald Trump and all of his cronies that he surrounds himself with from Wall Street at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to determine the future of 1.2 million people and millions of other undocumented workers in this country. I am clear. The dreamers are not criminals. Those who have TPS are not criminals. The millions of undocumented workers that work every day, sweat and toil at some of the most miserable jobs in the United States of America are not criminals. We are going to determine, and history is going to determine who those criminals are. And for me, the major criminal that exists in the United States of America is called Donald Trump. He lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue at the White House. And we're going to take actions today, and we're going to take actions tomorrow, and there will soon be a majority in the House of Representatives, and I'm going to make sure that I'm there to make sure of one thing, that we write those articles of impeachment and take him to trial before the Senate and eliminate him as President of the United States of America. He can't just fire Comey. He can't just say he's going to fire Mueller. He can't just say, I'm the king and I'm the dictator. This is a democracy, and we will make democracy work. We will make sure that it works for everyone, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're brown, white, papers or no papers. We're going to make sure democracy works for you, and we're starting it here this afternoon at this marvelous church in Chicago. Get ready. Our movement is coming to somewhere in your neighborhood. Thank you so much.